Welcome to your Virgo horoscopes for the week of the 21st through the 27th of April, last full week of April, and also the last few days of that pesky Mercury retrograde, which ends on Wednesday, which is nice. I know a Virgo in particular that had a really rough week last week, and specifically on Thursday. And I found out about it on Friday after dealing with a whole lot of kind of craziness on Thursday over here myself. So Thursday was definitely the day where it just kind of sort of hit its peak, I guess. It just seemed like. Okay, little difficulty, little difficulty. Okay, bam. Oh, it's almost over. Let's get it all in on one day, kind of a thing. It's been kind of crazy. Luckily for you guys, there's no planets in Virgo this week. We had some moon action last week. We're done with that. It's over. It was so last week, and we can move on from that. Couple of interesting things taking place this week, and that is Juno. It's been retrograde up until this week, right? The beginning of the week goes direct. Juno does represent how we relate to others, so it really does represent who we are in terms of our relationships. And Juno's focus really is on the past. So it's kind of interesting. Most Virgos that I know are very social beings. Now, I do know that there are Virgos out there that are very antisocial beings, but for the most part, in my observation, most Virgos are very social beings, and they get along with pretty much everybody. I'm a Virgo child. He always gets along with everybody until he doesn't get along with them anymore, and then he won't get along with them ever again. It's the sort of the invisible line in the sand that he draws there, which not gonna lie, kind of taught him, to be honest with you, because that was a hard lesson for me growing up. And don't want it to be as hard of a lesson for him if I can help him out with that. But the point is that Juno's focus on the past is really showing us relationships, specifically that either are coming back from the past, as in they were gone for a while, and then boom, here they are again. Or it could be pointing towards relationships that you have been in for a really long time. And it's not a bad thing either. In many cases, this is the eye opener of your ride or die people, if that makes sense, which is really important. When you make friends with everybody and you know everybody and you can communicate with everybody, you start to lose focus of those people that are really there for you. And there are times in your life when it becomes really extremely important to really know who your ride or die people are. Those people that are really 100% there for you. So I feel that Juno coming out of this retrograde is going to kind of show you that, especially at a time when you really, really, really need it, if that makes sense. We also have the dark moon in Virgo. For most of the week, as it gets to Thursday, it moves out and moves back on into Libra again, and it's also not retrograde. The dark moon's focus is on the mind and how the mind works and how your thoughts work. And we know that Lilith, the dark moon, is all about change. And it's like she's sailing through your brain, throwing all this stuff out. She's cleaning out the closet in the brain. You don't need any of this crap anymore, right? It's really almost forcing you to change the way you think about certain things, changing your perceptions on certain things, changing the way you perceive certain things, changing the way that you mentally process certain things. And we know that you Virgos are big thinkers, okay? In talking to this Virgo child that I have when he was young, he used to say, I love going to bed because I can just lay there and have my thinking time. And I think about all kinds of really cool stuff. And it's really cool, except for those days where it goes into the dark place and then it's not cool. Totally get that. And I think all Virgos are like that. Very, very, very analytical. And in some cases, being too analytical can really get in the way. So This is where Lilith is coming in and saying, look, free some space in your brain. Don't overthink things so much. Let things be the way that they are. Overthinking is a control issue. It's a way for us to have control in situations where we have no control. But it's a lie, because overthinking it doesn't give us any control either. And so consequently, it's also a gigantic waste of time. And you guys are Virgos. I mean, come on. Who wants to waste time? There's just no rhyme or reason to that, right? So it's not necessarily something that you want to continue to entertain, but most of us just kind of sort of live this way, and we don't realize that we're living this way. So we don't change it. This week, it's time to be aware of when you're overthinking, when you're overanalyzing, when you just can't let something go. Because when you can identify that you're doing it, it gives you the opportunity to be able to put certain steps in place to avoid doing that. So for instance, I'm not a Virgo, but I obsess just as much as you guys do. And when I get into that space where I'm obsessing and my brain just can't let go of it, I have to physically force my brain to focus on something else, not something that I can get in the hamster wheel with while I'm doing, like a little video game or something like that. You're still thinking. Taking a drive, still thinking, still going. No, I literally have to say, I don't want to think about this anymore, and visualize myself putting it in a box, putting the lid on, taping it shut, basically. And that's my physical, visual way of saying enough is enough. I am not focusing my mental energy on this. Instead, I'm going to choose something else to focus my mental energy on, something that is more beneficial to me and not destructive to me, if that makes sense. So it gives you an opportunity to change things. And I always tell my younger clients, if you can do this now, you'll save yourself years and years and years of wasted time, believe me. The earlier you start, the easier it is, because we start to get stuck in those patterns. Those patterns become just who we are. Before we know it, it becomes much harder to change that pattern. So the sooner you can get a handle on that, the better. So that's what I have for you guys this week. Hopefully the last few days of the Mercury retrograde will be smooth sailing for you guys, because there's no planets in your sign. Fingers crossed for you. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys enjoy life a little bit and make it a great week. I'll see you next week.